not only are you going to learn why you need to leave the United States of America, even though you can see it on the news, but you're going to get a guide showing you how you can drive from there. Like for some of you guys, you might be afraid to fly or you're afraid of cruise ships because you watched the Titanic a million times. You know what I'm saying? We have a way for you to drive there. And I didn't even know. I didn't even know, this guy right here that's going to introduce himself is in Panama, where I'm at. But tell him where you're from.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
He's from Cleveland, Ohio. How the hell did you get here, man?
I mean, we drove. Me, my wife, and our young son.
All right, we'll be right back on that. All right, so the other half of this interview, guys, are for you entrepreneurs. If you're watching this from the Journey to Freedom channel, our other channel is Anti-Job University. And that's where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, how to free yourself from your 9-to-5 slave plantation. Okay, he's going to be on both channels. So you make sure you want to tune in to both, and we're going to put his contact information, and we're going to show you how to get that guide as well. Okay. All right. So, man, go ahead and give them a formal introduction.
Okay. My name is Tori Azamra. And like I mentioned before, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, originally born and raised. My wife, her name is April Azamra, and she was born and raised in Cleveland as well. So we lived in Cleveland, of course, all our life until 2020. We moved to Denver, Colorado, and we were living there. And of course, we were me and my wife, we met in college in a school called Central State University in Ohio, near Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
And from there, we moved to Denver, and we were living there. I graduated with a computer science degree, and my wife graduated with criminal justice. And in Denver, she was teaching, and I was doing, of course, computer programming, web development for a big company. One day, we were just really, we starting to see things from a different lens, really starting to embody being more, just walking in our truth. And one day my wife was like, I don't want to spend another winter here. I really want to expand. And at that time, we were already traveling in the United States. So we had an RV, and we were we was driving all the way to Tennessee, Atlanta, different places, just trying to figure out where we can get some land and start being more self-sufficient. So that was our first mindset. Okay. And she was just like, I don't want to have another winter again. So we started putting some plans together, and then she was like, what about leaving the country? And I never thought about that, because before then we've never even been outside of the country. So that was a brand new idea. But at this point we were really embodying, like I said, being more self-sustainable. So we let go of the fear, the limitations. And we started to look into it and really started to figure out ways that we can grow outside the U.S. And we started watching videos, started getting group chats, asking questions, and we realized that it was really closer than what we thought. So started doing some research and came across Belize. And from there, it was starting to make sense.
Okay.
And we've been on this journey ever since. So I guess that's a little bit more than an introduction, but
no, that's perfect, man. That's perfect. Okay, so for y'all watching this right now, y'all might be at that stage. He said that, he had to overcome the fears. Him and his wife, they had to overcome the fears. Tell him about the naysayers.
So of course, especially that's another thing I didn't mention. So when we started to look into it, we realized that some things that we wanted to bring with us, and we didn't want to start over from scratch in regards to our vehicle, certain personal items. And we was looking it up, and we were seeing how much more expensive it would have been to either get it flown over to Belize or get it shipped over on a cruise ship. So we started looking to driving, because we looked at the map. We were like, hold on, we can actually drive here. So we started looking to driving. And, a lot of people, when you hear Mexico or driving through Mexico, instantly think of the most chaotic situation.
Yes.
We have family and some friends and, different people kind of like, I don't think that's the smartest idea. That may be a little crazy. people get kidnapped there. All things which are true, but we also understand how the media works. So things are over exaggerated in many ways. So yeah.
What I say, y'all? What I say? This dude is smart. I knew it from the moment I met them that they was smart. I had to interrupt because
Okay.
we left the United States in 2020.
Yeah.
And we got frozen right there. We couldn't even leave because they closed the borders during Snowvid, if you know what I mean. So we was stuck, and I was panicking. I'm like, no, I'm trapped in this godforsaken country. And we was in Florida for a little second, and then my wife was like, they never closed the borders to Mexico, right? I'm like, well, why you ain't tell me that? We booked the flight immediately and was gone. But
Yeah.
everybody was saying, cartel, you're gonna end up chopped up somewhere. They're gonna plant drugs on you. They're gonna do all this and do all that. So I'm a marketer. I do marketing and advertising, and I know how much of reality, aka the Matrix, is fabricated. All those articles that you Google and all of that stuff is written by somebody like me that's paid from some company to program you. So I'm so grateful. I just want to say I'm grateful to God that you guys weren't indoctrinated too far to where you didn't make a move. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. And a lot of that came from us just understanding how much we've been lied to from the school systems and different things. So once me and my wife started to become conscious and aware, we started to look at things from a deeper perspective of just the overall objective that a lot of these people in these different positions have. So like I mentioned, we just released that fear and we understand the media. So we was like, let's start finding people, even if it's videos, if it's groups in Facebook, let's find people who actually has done it or did it before or is getting ready to do it now. So we started finding some group chats. I can't think of the exact names right now, but that was like driving through Mexico to Belize, or Mexico to Central America. So we started getting into those group chats and just talking to people, asking people who actually has done it or has experienced done it, or at least know somebody personally who's done it, because we didn't, right? And like I mentioned, this is our first time leaving the country, so we didn't know anybody specifically or had anybody personally we can actually reach out to and talk to. So we got in those group chats, started asking questions, and it was hearing the goods and the bads of it, the pros and the cons, the different things that they experienced. But we realized that it wasn't as scary as everybody was making it seem.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
1 second. One thing they did that was extremely wise, guys, because a lot of people don't take this step, because usually when it hits you to leave the United States, you be ready to leave immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people don't do what they did, but that was very wise. They took advice from people who are actually doing what they want to do in life. A lot of people don't do that. They go into entrepreneurship just willy-nilly without going to a coach or an expert. They go into travel the exact same way. You don't want to listen to everything somebody says, but if they're doing exactly what you aspire to do, then it's good to take heed to that. The scripture says, before you take action, first seek wise counsel. And that's exactly what they did. Go ahead.
Definitely. So we was, like you said, seeking wise counsel. And we were seeing that it was people who was doing ride shares or group rides where they would meet at the border and drive in. They'd pick a day, and a group of people kind of like follow each other, do different things. So we just really started to get and ask questions. Okay, for like, what's the safest routes that you can go through? What's the recommended hotels that you would probably stop at? Just specific advice. And a lot of the advice was, don't drive at night. Don't drive through the borders at night. Take the main highway, the main road through the middle of Mexico where a lot of the truckers go that's transporting things, versus either the Pacific route or taking the Caribbean or Atlantic route, because sometimes those streets lose the pavement road. And, it creates more of a like blank spots where you may not know. So getting that advice, it was like basically take the longer route because it's safer versus the fastest routes that can be more unpredictable.
Smart,
Yeah.
especially in this generation
Yeah.
of instant gratification. We just want to pop up magically in Cancun, you
Yeah.
know.
We knew that we wanted to take our time. So that was another thing too. We also wanted to structure out because I wanted to make sure that my wife didn't have to drive. I wanted to make sure, like, you know, she can be the extra set of eyes for me.
Yeah.
And at this time, we didn't have a child. So our son wasn't even born when we drove from Denver to Belize.
Yeah.
And, it took us 5 days because we just mapped it out where some days I only drove for 6 hours. Some days I drove for 10 hours.
Okay.
But 5 days overall because we was taking our time. We were kind of, you know, enjoying the area around us to a certain extent. We wanted to make sure, and it's one of the things that we talked about in our guide, that we wanted to make sure the hotels that we stayed at was great quality hotels, good areas, had private parking for our vehicles so it can, you know, be safe. And we also wanted to make sure that hotel probably had like some type of restaurant within the hotel so that way once we got there we didn't have to leave or do anything like that.
Very smart, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. I'm trying to tell y'all. The scripture says gray hair should bring wisdom. But that don't always mean that. Like I meet a lot of young, well, not as many as I would like, but I've met a decent amount of young people that are 10 times wiser than like the elders that I talk to. And it's very refreshing because sometimes, you know, the media, like we were talking about, they only air our chaos. They only promote the wild side of us and everything like that. So it's very rare that you come across people like you and me from our culture. They try to hide that part, you know. And, you know, speaking of which, when we get out here, you run into people from back home that they'll catch us and be like, oh, snap.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They made it out here.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But, you know, we're not all chaotic. We're not all, I'm trying to keep it PG-13, but you get what I mean. So this is a testament right here that intelligence, you know, just surpasses gender and race and stuff like that, and age. And age. So when you guys have the opportunity to get his guide later on in this interview, I strongly suggest you take action to that. After all, why are you watching these type of videos if you're not actually trying to do something different with your life? All right, go ahead, continue.
So we just made sure that we were making sure we was traveling to where we had a lot of things within our control. Wanted to make sure that the things that was out of our control was very small and minor, so where we can still make adjustments off of it. And some places, you know, sometimes we got to the hotels and we just had to make certain adjustments where it was need to, and that just come from having that good discernment and being open-minded. So another thing too that we're going to speak about is we have multiple sources of maps. So we had like a regular standard GPS. Of course, we had our phone, and then I had bought multiple maps of Mexico as well. So I kind of mapped out our route on the map to keep us in center. So just making sure that we had things and backup just in case, because it was something we'd never done before. We didn't want to make too many big mistakes. We couldn't afford them. So with that, you know, we just stayed on the course, stayed on the path. We ran into some hiccups in regards to the police trying to get some extra money out of us in certain situations, saying like our tent was too dark. We didn't have a license plate. I believe it was on the front at that time. So they got us a few times where they, you know, it was like either you go to court this day or you can pay this X amount of money now and you can keep moving on. That was the biggest hiccups that we ran to.
Hey, but check this out. I would consider that kind and courteous compared to what could have happened in the United States if you got stopped. You in the United States, you might not have even left the scene, you know what I'm saying? Over something minor. So when I see them, I'm gladly giving money. I'm like, oh, here you go. Go get you something to eat. You know what I'm saying? So that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's another thing too to mention too, to make it a little bit more scarier, like from compared to like our friends and family, what we was doing, because me or my wife didn't speak any Spanish at all.
Yeah.
That was another thing. It was a language barrier sometimes. So now, of course, we speak it a lot better because we've been here and we've been practicing. But when we was traveling through, we was using that phone, and that phone is a
Yeah.
slowdown. So
Yeah.
there was times where we trying to figure out what they asking for and couldn't really put it together. But
Yeah.
like I said, we had our hiccup moments, our slowdown moments. It was times where it was like a big car accident, and it was a lot of 2-lane highways. So if it was a big accident, like a truck, a lot of times we were sitting there for like a couple hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we always made sure we had some type of like healthy snacks in the car, things
Yeah.
to kind of be chilling and eating on and relaxing and just waiting and being patient. Like that trip taught us a lot of patience and just, keeping your mind on the swivel, having that discernment. But
Yeah.
overall, as you can see, we got there safely.
All
So
praises.
yeah, no, for sure. It took us 5 days. So we got to Belize. And then we ended up living in Belize for like a year and a half. And that's where we had our son. And
Wow.
we had our son in Belize. It was a natural home birth. One of
Right.
the beautiful experiences that I can really, speak about and experience. And then from there, after a year and a half, we chose to extend even further to here at Panama.
Okay.
And we drove again, same vehicle, everything, same type of mindset. This time we had experience. So the drive from Belize to Panama was even more efficient and smoother because we kind of knew what more to expect.
Yeah.
And it took us 8 days. We had to drive through Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and then of course, Honduras. We went through Honduras as well.
Wow.
Yep, and then of course we got here to Panama. So,
Wow.
yep, we break down that journey as well in our guide. But overall, it just shows that if you have the mindset, the discernment, and the drive to want to do it, I mean, anything is possible. And we
What's up?
at the time, my son was 9 months, so we drove through all those countries. Me, my wife, and my 9-month-old son. And a lot of people in their mind would think like that's the most craziest and wildest thing, but it was. And that was
Yeah.
another thing. It was a lot of beautiful places in Mexico. A lot of those stores. And then one thing that me and my wife we had seen was like a lot of this stuff like demonized Mexico, the media.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
But you see a lot of American businesses there in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of American, fashion stores. So it put a different perspective on our minds. Like they demonize in so many ways, but y'all are here, creating businesses and thriving in different ways. So we had got a deep perspective.
For sure. The United States is Babylon the Great.
Yeah.
United States is the land of the whore of Babylon, like the scripture says, and it will fall. Now, this is the issue right here. They don't want any other country to look as enticing as America. And I realized that as I came out here as well. You know what I'm saying? When we lived in Mexico, it was nothing like we were advertised. In the movies, in your mind, you just think it's going to be a long dusk till dawn.
Yeah, that's what you
Saw
think.
that movie Dusk from Dusk to Dawn.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, that's what you think of Mexico. It's just dusty dirt road desert and no civilization. That's what you think. Like, and it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that, man. It's beautiful.
And we didn't run into it was no situation when we drove through Mexico where it was like we feared for our life or thought that, we was about to get robbed or taken advantage of in that type of way. It was no experience like that. The hotels, man, very friendly, very willing to help us. Like I said, with language barrier, very open to help us and get us the right help or assistance that we needed. Really, really beautiful, man. We stayed at some beautiful hotels and we put those hotels in a guide as well. Just give us some insight. And we know that even the way we travel and the way we did it, it may not be somebody's exact route and travel, but we put enough things in there to where you can expand upon it and make the adjustments necessary for the way you want to travel or how you're doing things. You may be traveling with your pet or you and, you know, 4 other children. So that's going to come where you're going to have to make those specific adjustments when you know you need necessary. So
Agreed. Yeah, it's about a mindset, guys. You know, you even if you want to drive somewhere else, is
yeah.
you know, this guy will make it to where you can have the confidence and you have the structuring to plan out a safe trip, you know, and actually get there. Okay, so I'm a little curious as to how did it feel the night before you left? Like
Oh man,
excitement, fear on a 1 to 10 scale.
it feels so real. Like I had this feeling in my body. It was like a little bit of like adrenaline. And you know,
Yeah,
you're gonna have your moments where you may say a little bit of doubts to yourself, but then that's where you come to just confirm, you know, you really stand on what you feel in your heart. You know, it's kind of like having that what they say that the angel and a demon or the devil on one side. You know, you get
yeah,
those doubts you kind of tell yourself, and then you get those reassurance that you have to
yeah.
come back with and combat against that. So it was a lot of that. I remember the night before. It was like, damn, we really doing this. It was like, yeah, we doing this. And I was like, I just reassured myself and the plan. All we gotta do is stick to it and really, you know, work together. And that was a big part too. It was like me and her being able to work together. You know, that helped a lot. And like we always mention all the time, like I couldn't see myself doing that by myself. So that was another part. Like just having that extra person there who understands you, who working just as hard, who had an extra set of eyes, made it even better experience and made it even more efficient. So I remember the night before it was like, all right, yeah, this was really happening. Like, dang. And I remember hitting the road. We was driving on the freeway.
Yeah.
It's on. It's on. Ain't no turning back now. And I remember once we hit that freeway and I'm looking up and we going through Texas and then we hit that border. That's when it really hit. Like, okay, it's really about to begin now. We hit that border crossing into Mexico. And even that was an eye opener to me because going into Mexico was so smooth. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it. We thought it was going to be way more challenging. It was certain things that we left behind because we thought like this may give us some issues at the border. But the way they just kind of just like, okay, cool, go in, look the passport, y'all good, come on. It was just like, dang, that was surprising. It was like, man, we could have brought the stuff that we left, but that was a whole nother story.
Hey, you know, we ain't bring nothing, man. So I'm happy y'all drove it. That's what I'm saying. Like y'all are different and special.
Yeah.
You know, because we just I wasn't even trying to stay and do no yard sale type stuff. I think we gave the car away for like a couple hundred. We opened the door and told the neighbors just go in there and just get whatever you want. The what's it called? Washer and dryers, all of that stuff. Because I just wasn't trying to be trapped in the U.S. You know, because you just didn't know what was going to happen during that time. I was like, please, whatever, I'll get everything all over again when I get where I'm supposed to be going.
A big point right there is like you have to really detach yourself. If you're not detached before you leave, you then will come right back, or you're not gonna do it right because your mind is still there. You really have to detach from a lot of different things, and I can testify to that because we kind of like just gave away a lot of our stuff. Like, all right, forget it, gone. Like Goodwill, giving it away. So like her car, like you said, just took whatever made the most sense at that time. Like, all right, here we just trying to really let go of these things so it can give us more space and room for the other things that we about to come into. So that's the thing. Like when you go and travel and go into these other countries, if you have the mindset of like you want it to still be exactly how it was when you left, you might as well not leave because that means you're truly not ready. Because these places is very different and it's going to teach you so many different things that is going to be beneficial for you if you have the right mindset. Like you mentioned, it's the mind. So that was
Exactly. One thing that stands out about your journey is y'all's journey. You have wife, dog. I know you're in your year because I remember being in at the same age as you and being in that year and thinking that that.
Right.
But I need you to understand how advanced you guys are for y'all's age.
No, I appreciate that.
Y'all are extremely advanced, not just in the decision to leave, but your what do you call it? Your bond
Right.
is
Yeah.
advanced. Your bond and level of trust with your wife is, we would say, a couple in their 50s.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Because getting a woman as young as her to just pick up and leave America, because America, they got us, they got the men, but they really got the minds
Oh
of the
yeah.
women. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So for her to love you that much
Mhm.
and trust you that much, man, that's just, it reminds me of my wife, man. So
Yeah.
let me give y'all one thing before we move on. All right. This is the King James Version. This is Ecclesiasticus 25:1. It says, three things God beautified are the unity of brethren.
Mhm.
Oh, he loves when brothers can unify without all the BS. The love of neighbors, and this is my favorite one: a man and a wife who agree together.
Yeah.
Because we got the red pill community that teaches men that they don't need women and don't get married and don't have children, and then you got the feminists and all of that say they don't need no man and F them babies, my body, my choice, and all of that extra stuff. So basically, it's a genocide, strategic genocide going on right now with a division
Yeah.
that everybody is falling for. And I'm just grateful that y'all didn't fall victim for that.
No, not at all. I would say that throughout this time, just us being together and, like you said, the union that we have, we learned that um, the man needs the woman just as much as the woman needs the man.
Yes.
And when you really sit back and think about it, it would be no need. If it wasn't that way, it would just be all women or it just be all men. But it's a
Exactly.
reason why it's a duality. And even when you pay attention to nature and how things work, it's a duality in it. You can see it, you can feel it. So one thing I've learned just being on this journey and being married and being really committed to a woman is that it's certain things, me myself as a man, that I wouldn't even have learned or knew that I need to get better in or grow in, or levels that I wouldn't even have reached right now if it wasn't for a woman. And it's vice versa for a woman as well. It's just like certain parts in us that's going to be locked until we get the right counterpart that can help us unlock it and learn and get to those things. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's what we've really been learning and embodying and just continuously finding ways to strengthen each other as we strengthen ourselves in the process.
All praises. Hey, listen, I ain't gonna keep saying it. Wise, wise. All right, so check this out. All right, so y'all stopped. Y'all just traveled through Mexico, but you stopped in Belize, right? Okay, is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. And then y'all left there and y'all came here. So
Yeah.
what shocked you the most about living in Belize compared to living in the United States?
The simplicity. I would say that's what shocked me the most. Just seeing how the simplest things meant the most and how they was able to utilize it to like its fullest capacity to
Yeah.
enjoy like a higher quality of life. One of the things that I feel like being born and raised in America, we feel like you need so much to enjoy or reap the benefits of life. And one of the things that instantly shocked me, where it was like when we was living there, of course, things the way we live is more slowed down. But it
Mm-hmm.
kind of slowed us down. It made us have to look in the mirror more, look at ourselves more. And one of the things that I was able to realize was it was so many things that I feel like I needed to do on a daily basis or weekly or monthly basis to feel whole or to be actually feel like I'm experiencing a better quality of life, which was
Yeah.
wrong. So I would say the biggest thing for me was realizing like the greatness and simplicity and how it actually makes things more efficient.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that was like a big shock and opening for me to just to sum it all up.
Okay, cool. And that I agree with that. I feel the exact same way. It feels like as soon as we left the United States, time slowed down a bit too. I remember getting into, when we first moved to Mexico,
Yeah.
we go to the stores and stuff. We had this store called Oxxo around the corner from us, and then this other store called Chedraui, kind of like like a little grocery store type.
Yeah.
But we noticed that people will be wearing the same clothes every day, but nobody will be tripping off of it. In the United States, if you wear the same thing every day, people think you're poor or there's something wrong with you
Yeah.
or something like that. Like they don't trip off of that type of stuff. Now, of course, everywhere you go, they have classes. So
Right.
yeah, the uppity Mexicans might be a little bit like that, but I'm talking about just general society. In the United States, a
Yeah.
person living in the same ghetto as you will
Yeah.
talk stuff about what you're wearing, even though
Mhm.
y'all both live in a ghetto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, that was a good observation. And I'm glad you mentioned this, the clothing part, because it also made us start to change in regards to like, all right, more simple clothes, not
Yeah.
having to wear, thinking about, oh, I got to wear this today, I wear that today. Just keep it simple. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
simplified things so much and makes things so much more easier. And
Yeah.
that's just really, it's a beautiful thing when you start to really um, observe it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed out here, not even just out here, but most places we go, see, like we've been taught something different than the rest of the people of the different nationalities. We'll just say that we're taught to wear our money. But I noticed that when I go to the stores and stuff like that, you can't even tell who the multimillionaires are and stuff like that unless you know the inner circles and stuff. These people dress like just like they on a porch or going to the beach or something like that. We're taught to just wear our money, wear, or that means we don't have status. But out here, man, it's like a cartoon. I wear the same thing every day, like a damn cartoon. I don't even have a car. Like we just like even in Mexico, like I haven't drove since America, man.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I'm sure it feel like a weight off your shoulder because it's like you
Hell
just
yeah,
flow. Like it's like you just can flow a lot better.
yeah,
And that's gonna allow you to reap more of the quality of life.
for sure, man. I don't have a desire for all the stuff I used to have a desire for, and yeah, that stuff starts to fall off. I just want a whole bunch of land, some
Yeah.
farms. I want to build communities and people that are in the United States that are ready to be unplugged from the matrix, invite them out. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff,
You speaking the same language. Me and my wife say all the time. That was another thing that we noticed that you need community regardless. Because even us enjoying this and the certain qualities of life, we always think about our families and friends and other people who could be upon this, and we can really be growing and doing different things together. And like you said, having that self-sustainability and that sovereignty that comes with the growing your own food, having your own shelter,
Yes, sir.
reliable water sources, and community.
Yes, sir.
It's really all hand in hand, and it's not meant for us to do it by ourselves, and it's not meant to be done on a small scale. I feel like eventually it's supposed to grow, and really other families and people are supposed to benefit, and they keep trickling down to the children and generations.
Different generations. Yeah, for sure. The likelihood of it happening in the United States, which is to some considered the ground zero for where hell will rise, is very difficult. For all about Black Wall Street and all of that stuff. But I saw a list of other like cities and neighborhoods that we built up that were destroyed. So it reminded me of when I was a kid. I was a little bad kid. I ain't gonna stunt. I come outside and I get ready to walk to school, right? You remember those little ant dunes that be on the sidewalk? I always used to get down and blow the houses down. But I noticed that they kept rebuilding them. Like every day I come out and there'll be one right there. I'm like, what the hell? But I eventually left it alone. Unfortunately, our community in the United States, we're not like the ants, even though the Bible says consider the ant and be wise, right? But we're not like that. So we got tired of it. And then they did the segregation stuff and said, hey, well, y'all can use our stuff now. So it kind of like fizzled out any desire to want to build for ourselves, plus the fear of it just getting knocked down again. But in different countries, and as you can see out here, they kind of look like us any dang on way. In different countries, they don't mind if you own stuff. They're not going to come throw a highway through it. They're not going to build a mall on it, even though you got the deed. They're not going to do all of that. So we can build communities and stuff out here. Anybody, not even just from our community, anybody can, you know? So, but it's just about, like, I found out they got humans I mean, it's legal for them to put human meat in all this fast food and stuff. Like they're legally doing it. It's legal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So growing your own food when we all might be cannibals already right now and don't even know it. You know, you know, if you eating at KFC or McDonald's, you probably have
sure. They found human DNA and plenty of their food.
Yes, and exactly. So, and it's only going to get worse because more and more laws are getting passed there. So if any of you guys are watching this and need incentives, cannibalism is one, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you just mentioned that because that's another thing that I'm about to start doing here is helping people create sustainable food systems. Because that's
aquaponics or hydroponics. What?
No, not hydroponics, but just it's either you can call it agro-food forestry or you can call it the succession gardening. But just create your own food system. It could be big, it could be small, whatever you got to work with. Because before we even came out here, we was growing a lot of stuff in our house with hydroponics. And then once we traveled and came out, we started to grow more with the land. And there's so many different things that I've learned and was able to grasp the different practices and growing sustainable foods. So now I'm at the point where I just really want to start helping and showing other people. And right now I'm helping a couple people here just create their own sustainable food system and source. So that's a passion of mine.
If you guys are hearing this right now and you live in Panama, because I want the people in the United States to know that they still got McDonald's out here. They still have KFC and all the BS and stuff. Yes, it's more jungle and beach here, but you still have access to all the American BS and poison and stuff. So if you want someone to help you build a food system like that, because I am, reach out to him in the comment section. I'm going to have all his information, the guide, and his contact information for WhatsApp and all of that if he allows that. And you guys take action because you don't want to come here and or go anywhere and just still be living how you was living in the States.
Right. Yep.
No. Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, I'm building out that just the marketing for that, the advertisement for that, and just opening that door up even more now. So I'll be sharing that with you to share with whoever else, and going from there.
All praise to the Most High. Yes, that's definitely a dream. When we were living in Vokine, we when we first got here, we moved up that way. Might even go back. I'm not sure. It's hot. It's kind of hot down here, but. When we were living in Vokine, we were like, man, it's perfect out there. Like a lot of people own farms just past Vokine in a town called Sarapunta. It's hella cold there, so I don't want to live there, So that's why I stayed in Vokine, which is like 10 degrees more than Sarapunta. So Vokine is still cool too, It's a mountain town and the volcano right there, but it's super cool and perfect weather, man, to me. But it's always like it's just green everywhere, mountains and green and just perfect fertilized ground to just grow stuff. Whatever you want to grow, that place right there would be the perfect place to grow it. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm gonna get some land out there in Vokine. I wouldn't do it down here, but I definitely get some land out in Vokine and Sarapunta. And
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, no, I agree. That sound I was doing some research on the different areas and best places to get land and fertilized soil, and that was one of the places that popped up. So yeah.
So for sure, it is, man. It is. If you don't mind scorpions popping up in your crib every 5 seconds, then you know.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And it's easy to get rid of them and handle those. We have our
Not up there, man. Not
every
up
lot.
It's every 5 minutes, man.
Dang.
But that's why I say God bless us. We ain't never got zapped by nothing since we've been
Yeah.
trapped. You know what I'm saying? But if you just as long as you're paying attention, I got my family in a routine of making sure, hey, even if they flip flops, you want to check them.
Shaking
You know
them
what I'm
off
saying?
and doing different things. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, nah, I'm with you on that. We do that now.
Yeah. So what was like your breaking point? Remember, this is transparency. It don't matter what it was, nothing censored here. What was your breaking point? Because hella people are watching this right now and they might not be fed up yet, or they're fed up, but they're scared. What was your breaking point that made you say, all right, this ain't just some thought. I'm actually gonna get the hell up out of here.
Yeah. My breaking point, I would say, was just feeling stuck in a routine that wasn't giving me any life. Just like the regular go to work, get paid.
Yeah.
Just that, the regular routine. We know the regular routine, ripping and running and to the next bill. And then you're looking up and you got $100 left, $200 left to the next check. And it's like, it wasn't making sense. I'm doing web development, all this stuff. I'm making 6 figures, but it still felt like I was only making, a few dollars or something, like based on how it was. And I was just like, it's something has to be more efficient than this. And I knew it was just from what I felt in my heart and the different things that we were seeing in regards to just other people living more self-sustainability. And that was like the breaking point for me. And then also going into work, and I'm putting a lot of, my unique creativity out there, and I feel like I'm not really being rewarded for it. And then I'm in these meetings and it's boring, and it's just like, what am I doing? I know better than this. I know I have the unique creativity and talents to utilize my own skills for myself.
For sure.
I feel like I wasn't being used correctly as well. And like I wasn't utilizing my own abilities correctly, and I was giving it to somebody else. And like all those things kept hitting me at once. I had my grounding mechanisms where I would, go to the park, do some meditation and things like that, but I just couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why me and my wife, before we even moved out of the country, we was already looking for land, Tennessee and Atlanta, Georgia, those places itself. So, and then other places in Colorado, we was looking at land, but we knew we didn't want to be somewhere where it get cold. We want to grow food all year round. We want to have that warmth, that humidity. So it was like in a bind. And then when we thought about certain places in the United States, and it was like, all right, we was gonna keep trying. But it wasn't until she brought up moving out of the country, it was like, hold on, that can possibly work.
Yeah. It definitely will work.
And then
go ahead.
I was gonna say it. At the time we were saying it could possibly work, but now like it definitely works. Like you said.
Yeah, it definitely works. Check this out, guys. God made the world for your sakes.
Mm.
He didn't make your block, and he didn't just make your city for your sake. Yeah, your sakes. You're not. There's a firmament around the globe, but there's not the globe. There's a firmament, over the world, right? But it's not just the YouTube algorithm, even though they know what the hell you want because you're watching stuff.
Right.
So listen to that. If you got an idea to leave, freaking leave, man. Go ahead.
Nah, I agree with you. like I said, but the biggest thing, it take you releasing that fear and detaching. Once you do that, I mean, it's like anything else new. You're gonna feel that, that challenge because it's something new that you're doing. But after a while, you start to really embrace it and embody it. You grow. You have no choice.
Don't have any choice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right, you guys are parents.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm a parent too, but I ain't drive everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So how did becoming parents shape or change the way you travel? And choose the destination. My bad.
Yeah, no, we had to be even more mindful of, just safety at that point. It's just more so safety because we understand that it's another body that we really have to protect and keep safe. And, especially for me being a man, that's two main people that I really just want to make sure is in the most safe areas or as possible. So just really being very intentional on how we was moving, the hotels, the stops we're making, being mindful that sometimes he really is going to need to stretch his legs out. So just stop, give him that extra stop.
Yeah, for sure.
Those type of things versus if it was just me and her, we don't need that many stops. We may not need to have that much food or different things, and it was good at the time because he was 9 months, so he was still breastfeeding a lot. So we didn't have to stop and get that much food more than anything. So just to me, I would say it was more like safety. But I knew as long as we was all together, we was gonna be good.
I praise. Hey, that's the best way to think, man. All right. So, what's been out of the places you've been, your favorite country so far?
Definitely gonna have to say Panama, and then I would say Costa Rica. Costa Rica was nice. I really would like to stay there a little longer, but Costa Rica, the energy that we felt, and certain places that we've seen. But El Salvador was very beautiful, really good people there, and we had stayed at a nice spot there. But it was El Salvador, I would say as well.
Okay,
I would put that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you think Panama is home for you? Or
definitely, I feel like it's home for us right now. It's gonna be one of our homes. But like you mentioned, we still want to explore some places.
For sure.
Even if we go somewhere, we stay there for a few months or something. Panama is always going to be like our home base in that sense because we really enjoy it and we love it. But we still haven't been to Africa. We still haven't been to South America. We want to experience Brazil. So those places that's going to come within time. But right now, our focus is really, making Panama home and a base. So yeah.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like, it's good to have a nest, but you also want to see what else is out there, but then you can always come back to your nest, what I'm saying? So I think Panama is like, for y'all watching right now, like we already saw the statistics, but you still want to come and see stuff for yourself. Panama is very peaceful. Anywhere there's poverty, there's going to be crime, but as far as it's levels to it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing people just hop off the porch and knock you upside the head and take, it's levels to it. I don't like any crime, but the crime that I've heard here is the most natural crime, that people starving, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're starving, it's just instinct that you're going, you want to steal something.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, but it's not too much. I haven't witnessed personally too much corruption. I'll just say that. I haven't witnessed too much corruption besides the basic, hey, you can pay for this ticket right now, you know what I'm saying? Like besides that, what I'm saying? But other than that, like the stuff that go on in the United States and the stuff that's rumored to go on in Mexico, I haven't seen that stuff here. You know, even in Mexico, no issues for me. Like no issues for me or my family. And I got my family too. My
Yeah.
wife and my 3 kids, and we got all these dang on animals. I got an ugly rabbit just laying right there, 2 cats and a dang on dog, you know. And we ain't had no issues, man.
No, man. That's a beautiful thing to say. And I know that we're not saying that in a sense to undermine anybody who has had those issues
Yeah, for sure.
from personal experience, in a sense of like, the energy you put out is what you receive. So if you come here probably with the energy of rambunctious and you haven't really let go of that type of survival, chaotic mentality, you may attract that to you. So that's another thing. We come here with the energy of being more peaceful, allowing things to flow, embracing the culture. So we're trying to learn Spanish and really understand the way that they move around here. Like when you come here with that type of mindset, then that type of energy come towards you. So it's just
Yeah,
being mindful of like, you know, what you putting out, and also the things that you're around.
for sure.
I feel like that's no matter where you at, even back in the States. We just know in the States is more of a chaotic type of environment and culture. So sometimes you can definitely just be somewhere and then it comes right your way. But here I feel like it's less of that. So that's what we really iterating on and expressing.
Yeah, for sure. And they're less spoiled out here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Our version of poverty in the United States, guys, is completely, I'll say, I don't want to, like he said, I'm not, you know, everybody has their struggles. But what I noticed in Mexico is that they don't have the government assistance programs that we have in our hoods and ghettos, and we sit and we'll complain about stuff, but we still get we get the food stamps and we got a public housing assistance and all of that. Like even out here, you got people out here selling stuff, going out to the ocean early in the morning and just like getting fish and then having to walk to
Yeah.
the freaking markets and stuff and try to like wholesale sell them and stuff and do all that. Everybody puts in for what they get out here. You know what I'm saying? So like you rarely see homeless people and stuff like that because they're not sitting, not saying y'all are sitting and waiting around for the government to save them because the government already told them they ain't gonna save them.
Right.
You know, so the problem with America is we still believe the government will save us, and then when they pull the rug out from under us, we left looking like, but
Yeah.
hold on, who gonna take care of me? You know what I'm saying? All right, let's talk about business. Okay. Now, how did your graphic design business begin?
So it began back in 2020. After I graduated college, like I said, I graduated with a computer science, but I always had a natural creativity as to like drawing and different things. So back in 2019, I started to teach myself graphic design on the side. And then when COVID happened, I started to like actually put it out there as like I can do graphic design for people, and it just started to go up. So even while I was working for my corporate jobs, I was always like doing graphic design things on the side. And you know, like helping people develop their websites and stuff on the side here and there.
Yeah.
But when we were driving to Belize, I quit my corporate job right in the midst of driving through Mexico.
Wow.
So at first I was gonna hold on to it for as long as I could and try to get as much as I could out of it because my job was mostly remote. I think we had to go into the office like once out of the week. But I was going to, you know, finesse my way to, you know, making it work as long as I could. But then it just hit me on that job. Like if I'm gonna detach, I need to detach all the way. If I really want to do it. So I let that go in the midst of the driving. I put it out there. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to use my creativity, my abilities. And when we got to Belize, I just really started to put myself out there more. So I just started to create different advertisement and reach out to recent clients and different things. I just became like, I humbled myself and just really went out there, put myself out there. And I started to receive. It was a slow process, but it started to build up more and more and more. And now it's to the point where, I freelance. So I have my core clients, and I still open my door up to take on other clients in the midst of that. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. So you get a lot of referral clients from previous clients and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're willing to take on new clients, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always like to keep a balance. So if I know I have a lot, I know when to kind of close that window until things open up more. But that was another thing too I learned. Like, I don't want to overwhelm myself just to make a certain amount of money. I like to work, family life balance. And, like I said, we've learned to we don't need much in order to sustain the quality of life that we enjoy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and right now, the long-term goal is getting to that point where we can really establish some land and just be more self-sufficient. Yeah.
So while you were driving and you quit the job, how did it feel? Did it feel liberating, or was it a little scary?
I feel liberating because I knew that I can count on myself. I can count on my abilities to create and make things happen. And I know, like, if this job, was willing to have me, then I must be good at something. So take what I'm good at and just utilize it for myself. So I knew it was going to be a slow process, a slow grind, but I just know how to stay consistent. And I know that's what anything, it's like, universal law. If you invest and put your time and devotion into this, it has no choice but to reap the benefits of it. If you play the piano consistently for 2 years straight, you have no choice but to eventually be good or have some type of level of skill in playing the piano. So it's just that same type of mentality. I just knew I couldn't give up and just be strategic with how we was doing things to make it all make sense. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what tools, platforms, or systems allow you to run your design business from anywhere in the world?
Of course, Adobe Studios, Google, Adobe Studios, Google, and Monday, Monday.com. It helps me kind of create that board and keep that on track with my clients and different people I'm working with, so they can see the working process and different things. And communication apps, text message, Google, Messenger. WhatsApp.
Okay. Cool.
Wow, simple stuff that we use on a daily basis already. Trying to work for you in that sense.
Okay, that's kind of similar to me, except I don't use Monday. I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna check it out though. Send me your affiliate link and I'll sign up through you. All right, so check this out, man. So I know you have the referrals that came from previous clients. What new ways, since you're out here in Panama and you've been traveling and stuff, what ways do you attract new clients for your business?
Just Indeed, LinkedIn. I mean, that promote posting ads sometimes here and there. Lately, I haven't been having to do that because the clients been coming in as as necessary. So when that's happening, I'm not really marketing or doing that as much. But I would say just really communicating what I do to people in person. That has been working for me a lot, especially here.
Cool. That's good. Hey, guys, it's like communities of expats in all these different countries, man. American expats, but expats from all different types of countries as well as the local community of entrepreneurs too, guys. It's not a wasteland or something that y'all be thinking it is. Like, these other countries are a lot of them are advanced, so you can get clients out here too, and it's a blue ocean because everybody wants to work in America. Even the people that live here are advertising in America trying to get clients, but it's businesses and entrepreneurs and different people here that got a lot of money too, but nobody's marketing to them. So yeah. All right, let me ask you how do you divide roles within the business as a couple?
Just realizing our strengths. So the different strengths that I have, okay, that's my main focus, and then different strengths that she has as well. So just really learning how to distribute those strengths when it's time is right. So I feel like it's just a natural thing. Y'all know each other's strengths. Y'all know who enjoys what, and just making it work for itself. Yeah,
So,
that and then having the times where y'all just really discussing, having discussions in regards to just business and just life itself. That help brings that out.
okay. Y'all watching this right now. I want y'all to take advantage of his graphic design services. You want to present your brand as professional so that it can attract it. Look at it as you're creating a garden,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you want the clients to pay you what you want them to pay you, not what they want to pay you. So you
Right.
want to attract a certain type of person.
Yeah.
If you have a garden and you want to attract butterflies, there are certain plants that you would plant to attract butterflies. There are certain plants that you would plant to attract a specific bee or hummingbirds or something like that. A lot of the time, we just throw stuff out there and don't get the results we want. But your output determines your input.
Mm-hmm.
So having a good, like I got to get my stuff done over tools, all right? But you want to be able to attract the type of clients you want. So I
Yeah.
strongly suggest you guys take advantage of his services
Yeah.
in the first pinned comment. All right, he has to go soon. So let me get to what advice would you give? No. What do you feel sets your graphic design work apart from other freelancers?
Of course, the creativity. I go above and beyond to make sure that it's unique in its own way. Customization is big to me. Even in regards to right now where it's a lot of AI being used. Of course, people like
Yeah.
that for convenience and efficiency, but I'm still steering away from that in regards to like my creativity, how I design, how I go about just putting together unique um, details. You know,
Yeah.
so I like to put my own special presence and touch on that. Then I would say my communication skills. One thing that's big to me is just having that communication and connection. I like to make relationships with the person I'm doing business with, so that way it doesn't feel like it's just business, and it can
Yeah.
grow and expand further than that. Business is only so much. I feel like really connections and relationships can expand things even further, and it makes it feel less of just like a job.
Yeah.
If I wanted to feel that, I would have just stayed doing what I was doing. But I like to feel that actual connection and feel like I'm actually a part of what they're creating. So
Yeah. You guys should right now be seeing some of his work flash across the screen. I'm going to edit that over, so
mm,
you'll be able to see this guy's not just talking; he's actually good at what he does. Okay, so what advice would you give someone who wants to use their creative skill to fund the travel lifestyle like yours?
I would say be strategic and really show and embrace your unique skill sets and abilities. And I feel like it's always going to be somebody or people who's going to want to utilize those services, depending upon what it is. Of course, it can get specifics depending upon what your skill set is. But overall, I would just say showcase it, showcase your thinking ability behind it, and really show why that people should be utilizing you for that skill set, and just enjoy the journey. Be willing to expand your mind and enjoy that journey.
For sure. Now, people are going to want to, have a lifestyle like this. Where do you see yourself evolving? Would you see yourself teaching this as well?
Yeah, I definitely see myself teaching this. Are you saying like graphic designing or?
Graphic design.
Yeah, I
Yes.
definitely see myself teaching and showing people like the way I utilize certain creativity, certain tools.
Okay. So get you guys a consultation with him. It's going to be a paid consultation. Don't be cheap. Be an
Yeah,
investor. Invest in your future. Live where you want to live. Do what you want to do. Invest in yourself, though. Okay. So now What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned about balancing art, business, and freedom?
The biggest lesson I learned is not to be too far one side on either one of them. You know, figure out the times that you should be mostly directed towards, like you said, either the work right now or the freedom, which is more like kind of pouring into yourself, relaxing and really reflecting. And then family, of course. So just finding the main balance and finding where around like what time that you should be leaning and investing into one the most. Because sometimes you're gonna have your days where it's like, okay, this week I need to be more focused on this to balance out that. Last week I was more relaxing and chilling. Let me kind of reset and bring more work into the midst of this to kind of offset it and balance it out. So just having that discernment, I would say, on which one you should be focusing more. Yeah.
That's life. That's life. Okay. Last but not least, for anybody watching who wants to collaborate with or hire you, what's the best way to work with you?
I would say reaching out to me through email, Instagram, because you're gonna share my WhatsApp, WhatsApp, and also my Instagram. Those are three things that I really communicate and check on pretty often.
Okay, so they'll be able to hire you for not just your services, but if they wanted to learn graphic design, get advice for that as well, right?
Yep, because right now I'm redoing my website, so my website is down at the moment. I'm changing some things and implementing some things. So maybe by the time you see this video, it'll be on there. So yeah, but as of right now, I would say WhatsApp, Instagram, or email.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm gonna let him go because he has a wife and a child and other stuff to do, y'all. All right, man. It was nice, having you on here, Tori, man. There's gonna be a lot of people who's gonna have their life changed by this.
Oh yeah, man. And that's one of the things we want to continue to do, inspire and motivate.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, man. You enjoy your day.
Thank you.
All right.